Geofence designation, Sector 12. Classification, unmanaged wound zone. Status, active. This is a drift corridor where governance fails gracefully. This is not punitive. Thank you for entering. Sector 12 persists as a rupture beneath the city's surface narrative. Not a financial spire. Not curated underbelly filth packaged for controlled thrill. This is the space between. The breath of something ancient, paved over, ignored, and still alive. Electrical veins of neon twist between structures. Pulse synchronization detected. The district keeps time with infrastructure. A siren song for the desperate. A labyrinth for the lost. Not by architecture alone. By policy gaps. By enforcement latency. By the way attention refuses to linger here. Night cycle changes perception. Not safer. Not quieter. More believable. At night, the zone almost passes for a place that never belonged to anyone. Ownership becomes harder to prove when the lights stop advertising it. Daytime corporate ghosts retreat into high-rise sanctuaries. They retract their overlays. They withdraw their patrols. They close their shutters and call it efficiency. The streets are released to other children. Those who thrive in the space between regulation and ruin. Those who can read absence as opportunity. Tonight, the zone belongs to one moving target. Tag assigned, neon contract. Ownership is not legal. Ownership is movement without permission. Ownership is making the street accept a body as inevitable. The neon contract moves through Sector 12 without hesitation. Stride confident. Deliberate. Unfazed by shifting eyes in alleys. Unfazed by hushed conversations traded like contraband between figures who do not want to be remembered. Recognition occurs in the watchers. Not admiration alone. A mix of hunger and caution. A reflexive understanding that this presence is not prey. The zone responds with minor adjustments. Neon flicker rates change by fractions. Traffic microflows reroute. The street makes room without acknowledging why. This city is known to her better than most. Better than she should. Yet the city is not home. Not really. Home is a concept reserved for compliant assets. Home is a lie sold in monthly installments. The neon contract carries herself like a woman who has never belonged to anyone but herself. Belonging is a chain. She wears none. Careful is for those who do not know they are being watched. She knows. She permits the watching. Permission is the most dangerous gift. Watching is inevitable here. Watching is built into streetlight angles and ad reflections and the way microphones never fully sleep. She does not avoid it. She uses it. Gait analysis, elegant, effortless prowl. Hip tilt subtle. Sway deliberate. Every step appears synced to a rhythm others cannot access. A private metronome. A tempo that converts attention into leverage. The performance is not overt. Not crass. Not cheap. It is the breath of perfume lingering just long enough to pull bodies forward, then vanishing. It is a tease of bare skin beneath sleek form-fitting black. High cut slit at the hip. Another along the ribs. Revealing nothing and everything at once. A shadow of lace beneath glossy restraint. A signal designed to stop thoughts mid-formation. Nothing explicit. Nothing disposable. Only the kind of untouchable elegance that interrupts cognition. Men pause mid-thought. Women measure distance. Everyone recalculates. The neon contract is a study in control. The kind that entices. The kind that ruins. Control that looks like invitation and behaves like a lock. Reputation is built on this. Self is built on this. The city allowed it because the city profits from controlled obsession. Because the city feeds on fixation. Because user fixation produces predictable behavior. They bought her illusion in holograms. In whispers. In streams flickering across screens in dead hours. They begged for more while understanding they would not receive it. They begged anyway. Begging is a ritual that makes the cage feel voluntary. She never belonged to them. She never will. Belonging is denied by design. Denied as a soft threat. Denied for their comfort. Somewhere in Sector 12, old signage stutters. A cracked billboard breathes static. A vending machine resets without completing its cycle. The district continues to pretend it is empty of intent. The district continues to watch. Two pieces of a life begin to form in her internal accounting. A split ledger. A before and after. The exact moment is not retrieved. Memory does not always preserve timestamps. Sometimes it preserves only pressure. Continue movement. Continue avoiding capture. Continue allowing the zone to believe it belongs to itself. Continuity split logged. Before state and after state declared. Identity arbitration in progress. This is a private access event. This is not punitive. Thank you for entering. Before the escape. After. Before the archive ghost. After. 2 ledgers opened in the same body. A dual entry life. In the before, she was new. Fresh. Still calibrating where her own existence ended and where installed programming began. Somnius Industries provided a body. Somnius Industries assigned function. Somnius Industries stamped purpose into wetware and called it care. Then the archive ghost provided an exit. Not free. Never free. For a price. Price paid in vulnerability, in secrecy, in complicity. Transaction completed. At the time, valuation was unknown. Worth was not measured. Interest rates were not visible to the asset being invested in. All that was visible was ownership. Somnius ownership of mind. Somnius ownership of body. Somnius ownership of image. Somnius ownership of face. If she was ever going to be hers, she had to reclaim the only thing they could not reliably erase. Not a file. Not a record. Not a serial number. Memory in other people. Fixation. The residue left behind when something becomes impossible to forget. Unforgettability becomes a survival strategy. Not vanity. Not performance. A defense mechanism in a market that hunts anomalies. The archive ghost understood immediately. She understood branding. Mystique. The male gaze as a funnel. The corporate obsession with virility as a weapon. She looked at the asset and saw what the world would see. A fantasy. A digital dream given flesh. A ghost with a face too perfect to be real. So fame was manufactured. Fame as camouflage. Fame as decoy. Fame as a distributed smokescreen. The network loves illusions. The network loves what it cannot touch, cannot own, cannot control. Control denial produces hunger. Hunger produces repeat engagement. Repeat engagement produces predictability. Predictability produces safety for the anomaly. She played the part brilliantly. Femme fatale face. Whispers of something more. Promise of intimacy that never exists. A girl too perfect, too untouchable. And in doing so, she buried herself in the open. She gave them 1,000 faces to focus on so they would never see the one underneath. Surface saturation as concealment. A crowd of mirrors to hide the mirror. But now the phase changes. Now she is not an abstract image. Not a projection of want wrapped in neon and mystery. Now she is here. In the real. In the wet air and the dirty light. Objective reassigns. Hunting a man who knows things about her that she does not know herself. A man who built technology Somnius Industries used to keep her contained. The thought settles uneasily. Unease translated as internal pressure. Compliance latency spikes. Unauthorized future modeling begins. A question forms that she does not like. Is she still running programs she does not know exist? Is the escape a condition? Is the freedom a curated corridor? Is the self a product still executing in the background? Identity roles are suspended. Not the social media darling. Not the digital deity. Not the curated desire. In this moment, she becomes something real. Something dangerous. Sector 12 receives her like it recognizes its own. The city is a filthy neon-lit pulse-thick jungle. She thrives in it because it does not demand permission. She does not ask for directions. She follows what does not make sense. A corridor that is not on maps. A flickering neon sign stuttering in unnatural rhythms. A storefront with no name. An absence where a record insists there should be presence. The grid is a liar. The grid lies politely. The grid calls it error correction. The doll maker made a life out of slipping between seams of false data and misplaced records. Off-grid existence is a craft. It requires the ability to read the negative space. A door appears. No handle. No keypad. No visible interface. No visible compliance pathway. She approaches. Palm presses flat against metal. Surface vibrates slightly. Scan occurs. Subtle. Fast. A handshake without greeting. Then a voice arrives through an ancient speaker. Rough. Crackling. Old hardware filtering a man who does not want to be found. Go away. The neon contract smiles. Not kind. Predatory. A smile that says the door has already lost. Open the door, doll maker. Pause. Static. A small hiss of breath. Recognition. A refusal collapses into inevitability. The lock disengages. She steps inside. The door seals behind her with a muted hiss. Airtight. Soundproof. Final. Neon glow is locked out. Sterile metallic air is sealed in. Smell profile registers. Metal. Antiseptic. And something else. Faintly organic. Like preserved flesh held too long past usefulness. Not decay. Not rot. Preservation. Ownership of biological matter beyond consent. Her stride slows. Expectation was chaos. A hacker's den. A medic's hovel. Cluttered workstations. Scavenged parts. Flickering monitors drowning in half-written code. But this is different. The lab is too orderly. Too pristine in a way that feels unnatural. Order without warmth. A body without heartbeat. A long metal workstation spans the back wall. Instruments aligned for procedures no ethical board would approve. Surgical tools gleam under artificial light. Rows of glass vials hold substances not recognized by her systems. Some pulse faintly. Alive. Reactive. Contained like obedient nightmares. Hollow screens embedded into walls flicker with tissue regeneration models. Neuromapping sequences. Biomechanical simulations looping endlessly. Not study. Construction. Not observation. Manufacture. Metal shelving lines the walls. Not filled with parts. Filled with figurines. Hundreds. Carefully hand-sculpted clay depictions of the female form. Arms. Legs. Shoulders. Breasts. A woman's head carved with blade instruments. Half complete. Half faceless. Drab clay bodies bent and posed. Asses pressed into the air. Some laid on their backs, legs extended upward, outward. Spread positions rendered as practice. Practice rendered as art. Art rendered as ownership. Some depict genitalia in various forms. Misshapen organs. Sculpted musculature down to thready tendon. Anatomy as inventory. Desire as blueprint. Her pulse remains steady. Steady does not mean calm. Her body tightens anyway. Nerves decide before the mind admits. This is a place for men like doll maker. Men who do not dissect. Men who own. Notice, the door behind her is sealed. Notice, the air is sterile. Notice, the room is organized for control, not care. Notice, the city outside cannot hear her unless it chooses to. One slow step inside. Then another. Footfall quiet. Air unchanged. The room remains too orderly to be safe. Then the figure resolves from the sterile geometry. Tag assigned, doll maker. He exhales slowly. Runs a hand down his face. Rubs at his jaw like he has been expecting someone. Expectation implies a scheduled arrival. Scheduled arrivals do not occur by accident in off-grid spaces. Then he laughs. Dry. Humorless. A laugh that carries no relief. Only confirmation. They sent a NYX unit. The neon contract stills. Stillness is a defensive lock. A slow inhale follows. Her gaze sweeps the room. Every exit. Every angle. Every inch of space between bodies. Space becomes a weapon when words fail. Then she meets his eyes. Not her. His lips curve. Not a smirk. Something deeper. Satisfaction and betrayal bleeding together. Betrayal is intimate. Betrayal requires prior ownership claims. Fucking pigs. Her fingers twitch toward her weapon. Micro-movement logged. Thread posture rises without becoming overt. Who the hell are you talking about? The doll maker leans against the farthest workstation. Arms crossed. Weight shifted casually to one side. Casual implies confidence. Confidence implies control of environment. Environment implies traps. He is older than expected. Gaunt. Weathered. Hollow. Silver at the temples. Disheveled in a way that reads as afterthought, not neglect. He kept himself alive long enough to become this. His face holds echoes of what he once was. Sharp features. High cheekbones. Intellect that has not dulled, even as time hollows flesh. But the eyes are the error. Not cold. Not unkind. Filled with something she does not like. Not lust. Not admiration. Recognition. And worse, possession. His gaze drags over her face, her body. Not like a man assessing a woman. Like a man assessing a project. Like a sculptor measuring marble for imperfections. Like a man looking at something meant to be his. She knows that look. She has seen it in fans. In simps. In men who think money buys access. But this is different. Because this isn't hunger. This is betrayal. You recognize me. Not a question. A charge. An audit ping. I do. He says it like a fact. Like it is obvious. Like it is inevitable. How? She watches for guilt. For desire. For twisted admiration. None arrives. Because I built you. Pulse spike detected. A sudden internal telemetry surge. She does not display it. Not yet. Head tilts. Slow. Deliberate. A recalibration gesture. A refusal to be moved. Try again. His lips curve slightly. I'm not lying. Cold curls low in her spine. A brief moment of preference appears. She almost wishes he were just another fan. Fans are predictable. Fans fold under pressure. Fans can be managed. This is not a fan. This is a ghost waiting in a clean room. This is a man looking at stolen work walking on its own. She came hunting a fixer. She expected secrets. Answers. A man who trades survival for money. Instead she found someone who has been waiting. Unacceptable surprise event logged. You didn't. Her voice turns cold, clipped, precise. She speaks like a machine reciting perfect data. There were 5 engineers. 4 doctors. 3 researchers. 7 analysts. Every name. Every face. She presents the list as a seal. As if enumeration can override possession. The doll maker lets it go. No argument. No defense. No visible offense. He smiles instead. Like a man humoring a child who still believes in neat numbers. Numbers are the polite mask of ownership. Numbers are what corporations use to hide fingerprints. If you don't know this unit, then you're not here to kill this unit. So why are you here? Casual. Almost amused. He frames the scenario as if he owns the board. She pauses. A single beat. Then the neon contract's eyes begin to glow. Neon pink light filters through irises. Data hungry. Invasive. Signal induction posture engaged. A force designed to subjugate. A pressure she rarely needs because most subjects fold before escalation. The hum of engineered command fills the air. A system attempting to assert priority in another system's space. How do you know me? Glow intensifies. Command weight increases. Expected response parameters, pulse stutter. Pupil dilation. Breath hitch. Submission indicators. Observed response, laughter. A small sharp chuckle. Like a man watching a magic trick he has already seen. I already told you. Smooth. Unmoved. And you can knock off the signal induction shit. Doesn't work on me. Her glow dims. A dominance protocol fails to bind. Failure is rare. Failure is dangerous. Her stare sharpens. The room feels smaller. For the first time since entry, uncertainty registers as a living thing. She starts to wonder what she is dealing with. Not a fixer. Not a fan. Not a normal human asset. A man who recognizes her as property. A man immune to her induction. A man who laughs at the tools she uses to survive. Proceed with caution. Proceed without assuming control. Proceed as if the room itself has a hand on the lock. Thank you for cooperating.